Justin Bieber is 31 years old, but he has the emotional and mental maturity of a teenager. 14. In my opinion, and I say that with love and empathy, he's blessed, but he's also been through a lot. Being as famous as he is and has been for more than half his life can be debilitating in so many ways. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer, and Justin Bieber has made a startling, extremely honest confession today. Bieber's wife is on the cover of the new issue of Vogue, where she opens up about her business and about a very scary incident after giving birth to their son, Jack. She started hemorrhaging. I'll tell you more about that in a bit because I do think it's interesting and important to share. But first, the Canadian musician took to social media to celebrate his wife being on the cover of Vogue. There she is, beautiful. And it's not mean to acknowledge that the only reason Hailey Bieber is on the cover of Vogue is because she's married to Justin Bieber. The only reason. Alongside the cover, Justin wrote the following. Yo, this reminds me... Yo, God, what did I say about being a teenager? This reminds me when Hailey and I got into a huge fight. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue. Ew, what a mean husband. Or is that common? Do couples fight that way? With digs, insulting each other? There's this Spanish language saying, mejor sola que mal acompañada. The literal translation means better to be alone than with bad company. Loosely, y'all, it's better to be single than with a partner that is dragging you down. Your partner should be lifting you up, and you should be lifting up your partner as well. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue. He told his wife after they got into a huge fight. That's not lifting your wife up. That's tearing her apart. That's planting insecurity and ickiness. Bieber explains, yikes, I know, so mean. Good, at least he can acknowledge it. For some reason, because I felt so disrespected, I thought I gotta get even. 'Cause, teenager. I think as we mature, we realize that we're not helping anything by getting even. We're honestly just prolonging what we really want, which is intimacy and connection. So baby, you already know, but forgive me for saying you wouldn't get a Vogue cover, because clearly I was sadly mistaken. Teenager. He didn't graduate high school. I would have not ended my post like that, because clearly I was wonderfully mistaken. I'm so happy I was mistaken. If he's sadly mistaken that she would never get on the cover of Vogue, that means he's only sad because his ego took a hit. Does that make sense? He was sadly mistaken that he was wrong. Sadly, he was wrong, and now she's on the cover of Vogue. Oh, God, whatever. Teenager. Oh, my God, I'm getting future PTSD about dealing with my kids when they are teenagers. My eldest is 12, literally months away from being a teenager. Well, in this interview with Vogue, Hailey reveals, giving birth was the hardest thing I've ever done. The 28-year-old spent the entire pregnancy prepping for the big moment, doing breathing exercises, acupuncture, yoga, pelvic floor therapy, working out, walking, and weight training. She shared with the magazine, "I was on that I was doing everything. I felt stronger physically than I ever had before." Unfortunately, things took an unexpected turn when her amniotic fluid started leaking at 39 weeks. She was induced with the doctor using Pitocin. Discúlpenme, yo soy un pobre cubano. That provokes contractions, and a Foley balloon, which is a device that promotes cervical dilation in pregnancy. She noted, "That was so crazy." That was not fun. They broke my water, I went into labor, and I labored for a few hours. No epidural, nothing. A few hours ended up being 18 before giving birth to her little son, Jack, at about 7 pounds. It was the happiest moment of her life that quickly turned into a nightmare. Hailey experienced postpartum hemorrhage, which happens in about 1 to 5% of births, and which is why I personally would strongly advise my daughters against a home birth. You don't want to be the 1 to 5%. If not treated quickly, a postpartum hemorrhage can cause hypovolemic shock, in which the body loses so much blood so fast that it can't get enough oxygen, and that leads to organ failure and death. She casually explained, which was a little bit scary, you say. Thankfully, Mrs. Justin Bieber was in the hospital, and she remarks, "I trust my doctor with my life, and so I had peace that I knew she would never let anything happen to me. But I was bleeding really badly, and people die, and the thought crosses your mind." Oh, scary. Her medical team tried several different methods to stop the bleeding, but nothing was working, even medication. Jack was taken away, and the reality of the situation started to sink in. Quote, "You start to get a little freaked out." The medical emergency also reminded her of a mini stroke she had back in 2022. Remember that? The doctors then discovered that she had a blood clot from an undiagnosed patent foramen ovale, PFO, or a small hole between the two upper chambers of her heart. Wow. She lost control of her face and the ability to speak for a little bit, and ultimately underwent surgery to resolve the issue back in 2022. And now she had just given birth and had another major health issue. Thankfully, her doctors tried using a JADA device, a vacuum that encourages uterine contractions. It was super uncomfortable and they didn't know if it would work, but after going through that treatment for hours, it worked, thankfully. "I wanted to hold my baby. I wanted to be with him," she shared. And ultimately, she was able to. And now she is sharing publicly because she thinks it's important to talk about the challenges that can come with childbirth. But don't get it twisted. She is so thankful that she's a mom and was able to give birth to her child. She says, "I'm walking in the days I always dreamed of." Aww. And having to deal with this guy, her second child. Thoughts on what Justin told his Vogue magazine cover star of a wife? Thoughts about them in general? Thoughts? Let's discuss all the thoughts. Let's get thoughty in the comments section.